Welcome to itdesk.tv. Now today we continue our journey into learning Python, and we're going to be doing the functions now in Python, and we're going to continue the theme that we've been doing for the past few days. We're going to create a function to collect two numbers, number 1 and number 2, and then it must multiply these numbers and then print the results to the screen. So that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to do that right now. So look at the screen as we proceed. Alright, so we're going to define the functions in Python. So we're going to call this function calculate. We're going to say num1, comma, num2, close parentheses. That's how you define it. Then we're going to put the makeup of this function. So it first of all, see, I'm using C# things here. So let's get rid of that. So it's not a semicolon. It's supposed to be a colon. Then we're going to define the function. So when you get into the function, num3 is equal to num1 times num2. As soon as it gets that value and it does that calculation, I want it to print to the screen from inside the function. So I'm going to use the print function, convert num3 to a string, and display it to the user, and then I want it to return. That means it must now come back to the main function and come out of this function. So the function is defined. Now, defining the function doesn't do anything. It's just sitting there waiting for us to call it and assign some values to it. So how do we call it? I'm going to need you, the user, to input the values for number 1 and number 2. So here we go. I create a variable and I want you to give it, I just want to use, let me use float variables, because you might give this a number with a decimal or something. So here we go. And I will call the input function, and I say enter the first number. Alright, I'll call this the second number, float. And it's the same process, input. I say enter the second number. Alright. Now, I need to call the function, and remember the name of the function at the top here, it said calculate. So I'm just going to say calculate, and I'm now going to pass the values. Those two numbers are going to be passed to the function for the function to then use the numbers I'm sending to it to do the process that's listed in the function. So the numbers I'm sending to it is the first, comma, sec. These two numbers that I collected from the user. If this is set up correctly, it is supposed to display the results of the calculation of the first number multiplied by the second number. Again, I'm new to Python and this is my journey into Python, and I'm just learning these functions, but the principles and the concepts of programming is why I'm able to do this. So I'm using those concepts and applying that to this language and see how it pans out. So we're going to go ahead and run this. For float input. So I have a problem here. The only thing that's sure when you're doing programming is that the program will crash. That's the only thing that's sure. But what you have to know is you have to remain calm and you have to look at the code and see what could have been the problem. FIR, which is the variable, is equal. So I left out the equal sign. Alright, so here we go. The first number, 5. Second number, 4. Equal to 20. Alright, good. Let's try it again. First number, 10. Second number, 5.5 is equal to 55. And that's how you do functions in Python. itdesk.tv, unlocking doors.